This is a requested video. Part of it will be opinion only, so it's probably not going to be perfect. Next, I'm going to start off the video with hopefully useful data. We're going to be setting some ground rules or some baselines here of what we are talking about. We're going to start with a prefix used in wording, para. Ancient Greek and also current languages that have adopted pieces of it. For beside, next to, near, from, or created from, or evolved from, against, or contrary to. That last one means that it's the polar opposite of it, or a reaction to it to create an opposition. Now, the modern version of this is expanded. I'm going to read it out. Similar to, parallel to, beside, by, off to the side, aside from, outside of, beyond, further than, or past or extending, opposite of or contrary to. Pretty straightforward. Paramilitary can mean it's like a military, or it's in opposition to military standards. It could be the polar opposite in every way, or be trying to be identical. It could be a smaller version of it. It could have been something that's created from it. Now, what is this referring to in the context we're dealing with more narrowly? An official, legitimate, or normal scope of something. So, what does that mean? Well, when we look up the word it's stuck in front of, like parapsychology, the official or legitimized or what we consider the normal presumption, perception, or reality of psychology, we could have something called parapsychology. Now, we're going to be using it as a prefix. If we add it to the following definition, we get a word that doesn't sound like the right word, but that's what we're dealing with. A prefix added to create an opposition to, or an adjunct to, or an extension of scientific, empirical evidence and observations, experimentation and confirmation of scientific data gained through the method, scientific method. Now, this is either one of the definitions I'm going to bring up, I'm going to call the legitimate version of, it sounds like parascience, right? Let's continue. And the other one, we're going to talk about what it's really used as in the reality we're dealing with, which is sad because part of science is this part where it's an extension of, and in general, an opposition to currently accepted science, the official, legitimate, the normal. Has to be challenged constantly. That's part of science. It's not parascience, that's just science, which is the reason people don't use the word parascience. You might be thinking supernatural. That's beyond nature, meaning outside of, in most people's minds. But it also could be considered an extension. But that's not the word. And it's not paranatural either. Here we go. An argument explicitly based on anecdote, testimony, or suspicion and or misinterpretation and misunderstanding of nature, various variations in nature or anomalies that have not been observed that are assumed by the observer to be outside of scientific understanding when they are not. So instead of saying parascience, we're talking about anti-science. That's what the word is. Because part of the umbrella term of, I'm doing that on purpose to trigger people out there who are easily triggered, so go ahead and freak out in the comments. But being anti-science isn't para anything. Para includes people who are against something or opposing it. Now, if you use this anti-science method, a lot of the individuals that use an anti-science process try to make it look like science. Again, part of what should be called parascience is inside of science. It's part of how it's built. But basing it on misinterpretation, misunderstanding, lack of knowledge, or whatever, or refusing to go look up shit, I don't call that anything science-based, and I don't think the word para should be used. Scientific explanation of the world around us is termed normal. So we have paranormal. Again, paranormal either means you're extending the normal or science. It keeps being attributed to science. I want to bring up something really obvious. If you have a belief system, it doesn't matter what it is, a religion or a belief about economics, and it doesn't match reality, you can decide that whatever is trying to convince you you're wrong is anti-religion or anti-economic theory. That's actually a tactic used to dismiss it rather than address it. Science is not created as a way to destroy religion. It's not anti-religion. You're just saying that because it disproves a couple of percentage points of the data you have in your scientific beliefs about your religion because they're not scientific beliefs. It's not, again. So anyway, what's paranormal here? Paranormal is commonly interpreted as outside of scientific understanding currently. Now let's talk about parascience. We're going to do that really quickly. Using Newtonian physics, Newton physics, can you get to the moon? Maybe. Can you get to the moon safe if you also include, relativity and experimentation to find that magic number, but you don't know what it came from, but it's caused by relativity? Yeah, you need to use Einstein physics too. If you use Newtonian physics, you're not going to get as much done over a long distance, over a long time. Let's talk about GPSs. GPSs follow Newtonian physics mostly, except for the timers, because they're relativistically very, very high-speed items going at relatively different speeds to each other. The timers get out of whack, so you have to use, you can't just use Newtonian physics. You have to accommodate for it. You can find out the magic numbers and fix it, but the numbers match, understanding of E equals mc squared. If you want to get beyond a certain thing, you have to use quantum physics, which I don't like, but it's there. That's our best. There's a bunch of other things. Okay, we have a standard model that expends a great deal of effort trying to avoid that, but you get the point. Every piece of this is called paranormal because it adds to our normal understanding, I guess. James Webb Telescope, before it came up, we had a bunch of hypotheses. We're extending science by theory and guesswork mostly. Now we get to test it because we can actually observe the universe better. That means some of that paranormal investigation by real science is going to get debunked. You accept it. Now let's talk about investigating missing person cases and helping families trapped in a violent haunting by using a little metal box and listening to voices. A, this is extending science or crime solving. B, it's avoiding science at all costs. C, something in the middle. Let's talk about crime solving. Crime solving has been done. There's hundreds of different ways of doing it. Philosophies are behind it as well. Doing it like Sherlock Holmes, who is a fictitious character that never existed, kind of works. But that's like Newtonian physics. Using DNA, that's getting into the spooky area, but it works sometimes. Not 100% reliable, just like a fingerprint isn't. You have to combine everything. You can't throw out anything if you're trying to solve a problem. That means you have to include the spooky shit. Here we go. Cops do seances when they're talking to witnesses who don't know where a kid is. They do. They do what's called cold reading. They do this when they're trying to convict you of something or just get information so they can solve a problem. Kid goes missing. We've looked everywhere. Right. That's like when people tell me on their computer they've done everything. Really? Have you installed Linux? No. Then you haven't done everything. Tell me what you did. I don't know. Then we're going to start from the beginning because you didn't make a list. In that 5 seconds, I've completely blown their we did everything out of the damned water. Because they didn't. That's not real. So what do the police ask you? What does little Johnny do? Johnny and Mary, what do they do? They're missing now. Well, they go out and play. Do you monitor your kids? No, I feel guilty. I don't care if you feel guilty. And you talk to them. And you feed them ideas and have them spit back. It's called cold reading. You get the reactions out of things. You start seeing that something in their mind's kind of stuck. Oh, they built a weed fort or a little tree fort. Okay. Yeah, they said it was that direction. Everybody go in that direction. They're sitting in a treehouse. They're not missing persons. They just lost track of the time and they're still playing because they finished building their treehouse. That's literally how a lot of cases get solved. Parents, when they're panicking, don't think of the last damn thing because it's the last thing they'll think of. Oh, they're playing in a treehouse. So, missing persons solved by quote-unquote paranormal help, or did you do a seance, or did you do a soothsaying, or reading the palm, or anything that makes a person calm the fuck down and answer questions will solve a case fast. Including listening to white noise, which is calming, on a radio that's supposed to be words. Do you hear any words? I heard gravel pit. Okay, search the gravel pit. It's where the kid goes every once in a while to think with their thoughts and play with their friends. They're off with their friends at the gravel pit. It doesn't matter that they're literally listening to white noise between channels. There's an actual video of this, of a cop doing it. The person believed in soothsaying. This is the between channels. This is the noise from every radio channel on Earth, and I'm going to exclude all of our channels. He turns off the squelch. What do you hear? Gravel pit. They go to the gravel pit, the kid's there with the other friends. Instead of praying away the terror, which also works. Maybe a priest shows up. That fixes it because they calm them down, and the brain can slow down, and the subconscious mind spits out the answer. Or you can load up an app on your phone. Or buy a box. I owned one of these spirit boxes one time. I even read a story about it. One of my favorite mystery stories. Including cool stuff like echoed radio signals from a month before or a decade before. True stories? Don't know. Just like swamp gas. We can't confirm can form a ball of light. But now there's records of it, and we now know it's a variation of ball of lightning. Only because someone sat around with a bunch of cameras out in the middle of the frickin' swamp. Florida. Of course, Florida, man. For literally 5 years and found 3 instances on 2020. So it exists. It's not paranormal. It's just really rare. Like a pink squirrel. Yes, there is one. It exists. Now we're going to bring up the other subject. Missing person cases like that. Helping families trapped in a violent haunting. Or it's a reality TV show where people don't leave an obvious threat to their kids. Your family's being haunted? Yeah. It's violent? Yeah. Does Child Protective Service come in here and take your kids away, or you just move the fuck out? It could be animals on the walls. It could be something having psychedelic experiences. It could be black mold. Get the fuck out of the building. What am I referring to? I'm not referring to what is your opinion of the paranormal. I'm referring to Josh, Shaun, Rocky, the Fourman brothers, supposedly using paranormal technologies or whatever to help. What if a video displayed proof of paranormal? Facts about a well-known case before they were released to the public. Back in 2021, a 44-minute-long infomercial-length Delphi video is up. I'm not told where to look or what the assertion is. What is my opinion of the Fourman brothers? I've bumped into them as short clips. They have shorts. Bad idea for me to review that. I think they're bunk. Do they sometimes, tease out data and help people? Yeah, I'm sure they have. If it works, it works. I don't care what it's based on. Point to the part of the video better than you did, please. Next. My opinion of the paranormal is it's a misused word. The definition's broken. Next, it's part of science. It's not anti-science. But when you make it explicitly anti-science, it's just bullshit. I just call it bullshit. I call it anti-science. It's not paranormal. Next, does this help people who won't leave a building that's scaring the shit out of them? No. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Please clarify what you want me to review on that video.